Dr. Ashutosh is managing the startup incubation at the Foundation of Innovation and Technology Transfer at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. He is supporting implementation of uh, various funding programs. I think there is some disturbance coming from there, Dr. Ashutosh. His supporting implementation of various funding programs for innovators and entrepreneurs in the biotechnology domain and many other government and CSR funded programs. He is closely working with various biotechnology startups and working towards creating an incubator on climate entrepreneurs. Let me welcome Dr. Ashutosh Pastor for his session, The Role of Technology to Reach Sustainable Development Goal number 6.
Yeah, thank you, Aparna. Sorry, there was some disturbance from my end. So, welcome you all. Good evening. Today, I think it's a very important topic that we are discussing about sustainable development goals, and a lot depends like what we do, and that will shape our future. So obviously, like the institute being one of the national importance is trying to work quite hard in these areas and not just in SDG6 but in other sustainable development goals as well. And we're trying to implement technology in various areas. So I'll talk about a few technologies that are being developed at IIT Delhi, but the large focus will be more in terms of how the startups are doing, because I'm coming from a background where we try and help startups to come up with relevant solutions where they can solve different environmental problems. And then there are a few programs also that we manage. So I'll just give a brief glimpse of the programs as well. So just giving a brief introduction of the organization, FITT. So basically it's technology commercialization arm of IIT Delhi. And we do interact a lot with the industry and work closely. And there are different verticals. So I won't go too much into details of these things. But the whole idea is that we're trying to support innovation and entrepreneurship at large while managing all the intellectual property, etc. So discussing about a few solutions that are being developed at the institute, and then specifically in terms of the technological interventions to meet the SDG6 goals. So I'm talking about a cluster that has been made, a Delhi Science and Technology Cluster. There's this DRIVE initiative that works at IIT Delhi. So they're having these various mandates to basically work on these solutions. Now, some of these are listed here, like catalyzing water quality improvements for health and well-being, investigating of sustainability of water for gardening and irrigation, removal and recovery of pharmaceutical from water and wastewater, and then again, sustainable microbial solutions. There are certain solutions developed in that area, and enabling and integrating tools for well-managed water systems, enhancing resilience to water risks, and also there are, I mean, these are just a list of few of these specific goals that this cluster is doing. But apart from that, I think there are multiple activities, and also there's a large consortium being made where I think they can implement a lot of these technologies. And technology wise, I think we can do a lot in terms of meeting these SDG goals. I'll talk about a few technologies that have actually been developed and implemented. So one is the myco capsules, for example, using some specific microbial and fungal strains. Actually, these capsules are being developed, and these can help to treat water. So it's basically used for bioremediation, and these were developed at IIT Delhi a few years back. They did a startup based on that, and now probably also implementing that. Then there are certain antimicrobial non-woven fabrics for safe water filtrations. Now, one is in terms of actually doing bioremediations for microbial load and for other waste, biological waste. And then also the organic things like oil spills and all. So there are certain polymers. So one side is actually using microbes to treat the water and treat the waste. The second area is using polymers to actually clean it or maybe absorb these things. So these are the major areas is working on. And then there are recyclable smart mesh for separation of oily water, ecological sanitation, toilet plans, and all. So many of these technologies are being developed at the institute level. Now my focus is more towards startups. So I thought I'll just highlight a bit more in terms of what the startups are doing in this area. Before that, I'll just highlight about 4 programs that we are doing where we actually support innovations to meet sustainable development goals. So one is the program Sparsh. It's a social innovation and immersion program from BIRAC, where we ask very early stage people like who are just thinking about doing startups and want to do something about the environment. They haven't even registered a company as yet, maybe just graduates from colleges. So we ask them to join us, and we provide them a monthly fellowship, and we ask them to visit multiple sites, be it industries, rural areas, waste dumping sites, water bodies where I think interventions are required, and then they have to come and figure out certain solutions to target these problems or challenges, and then we also give them a kickstart grant to support them further. So these are just some initiatives that we are trying to have in order to support these startups. Now, there are some fellows working with us already on this, and then one fellow is primarily working on real-time water quality monitoring in water bodies, and I think that solution is coming up really great. Then with Renew Power, we are actually starting one more program, which is COE FITTUNDP Accelerator program for women climate entrepreneurs. So in this case, we are supporting women entrepreneurs who are actually working something related to climate or clean energy or waste management. Then also we have some other programs and other SDG goals, like for example, safe, clean, and eco-friendly mobility and power systems award for better power management and carbon saving. Talking about a few startups that are actually directly working on areas of Sustainable Development Goal 6. So this is about a company, NanoSafe, that was started by Dr. Anasuya Roy, who just graduated, did a PhD from the campus. And they were working, during their PhD, they were working on this specific technology where they embed copper into the polymers. And utilizing the same patented technology, they started using it for creating these antimicrobial containers. So it's basically using copper for water purification is basically a traditional knowledge as well in India. Many people use that at homes. Now that's kind of incorporated into a polymer shape, and then there are different categories of bottles and larger containers, 20-liter containers being made. So especially in rural areas, these low-cost containers can actually help where people are using water from ponds or rivers or wells. So the water can actually be kept free from larger bacterial contamination. So this the solution is called ACCure, and these were launched last year by the company. And now the team is doing well. Actually, they're already in the market and now trying to scale up their solutions. But their core technologies in terms of creating this polymer, and I think multiple shapes can be given to that for various applications. There's another interesting company called Acom Eco Solutions. This was also started by a group of a professor and a student at the campus. These people, while coming from rural areas, were really brought up in good environments. And then when they came to Delhi, actually, they found that the living conditions of people in specifically slum areas and others are like not really great. And even there's a lot of water wastage in providing sanitation. So they started working on these waterless urinals where there's a specific attachment, if you can see here, that is done to the toilet, and then it can be used without flushing. So the odor is removed and the urine is treated further, and there's a less waste created actually. Again, based on similar systems, they created other waste management solutions, food waste composting, natural washes. There's also a portable bio toilet that was developed by them. I think Beatrice were talking about similar solutions in the earlier slides. And I think many of these companies are coming up with really good solutions and many improvisations based on requirements, based on the use cases. So Acom also is in the market now, and they have developed this technology. And in fact, they are creating better versions of the technology now. This is more of like in terms of water quality and water measurement. So this is a statometer which is based on acoustic technology, and it helps in managing groundwater resources. So these can be used in tube wells and other specific areas where groundwater preservation is a challenge. So the groundwater levels could be measured real time using this device. So that's where I think this intervention was really helpful. And again, you can use it at various places, and it can transmit data real time again to a central server or maybe to the user, whoever is using it. And based on that, I think they can manage the groundwater resources, especially useful for rural areas as well as urban areas where I think groundwater depletion is a major concern. And I think as we grow on in our efforts in rainwater harvesting and other groundwater preservations, I think the results also we'll be able to know better. And I think having a real-time data on that helps people a lot. There's one more solution which I'll quickly talk about is from Cleanstar. So this is a startup which is working on waterless solutions for hygiene and sanitation. So now this team has developed a few solutions. One is a waterless body wash, one is a waterless shampoo, and these things don't need water. So it's kind of a spray that you put it on your body, rub it a little bit, and then wipe it off with anything. So you're done with taking baths. So especially in areas where there's scarcity of water or you want to save water, these kind of solutions can be used. And the team is also coming up with various other solutions like waterless edible toothpastes and other things. So while all these solutions seem very small, but in terms of frugal technology interventions, I think these can make a lot of difference uh, in providing sanitation. And I think the earlier solutions that I talked about are the ones that are developed at the institute at a larger scale, which the government is also involved in. Or also, I wasn't, talking too much about that. I mean, obviously those things are happening, but I just wanted to highlight a few of the startups that are actually working in these areas. And with the kind of programs that we have now, we are trying to support more and more startups in these areas. So I think with that, I would like to thank you all. I won't take too much of the time, but this was just a glimpse of what we are trying to do and how technology and innovations can actually come in front and then try and achieve the sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ashutosh, for that very informative session. Thank you so much for joining us today in the summit. Now let's take a short break.